It is September 2017. There is a lot going on in St. Anton, a village in the Tyrolean Alps. Construction work is underway at a hotel complex in the vacation region. More than 100 people are on site, working daily amid the mountainous landscape and ski resorts on the accommodations for vacationers. But one of them, who leaves his construction site on September 25th, will never reappear. He disappears without a trace. Only his last text messages remain as clues for the police. One of the last messages the missing man sent to his family reads, "Dad, I don't know if I'll survive today." Adrian Lucas is 34 years old and lives on the German-Polish border with his parents, Eva and Richard. The couple emigrated from Poland to Germany in the 1990s and have 2 daughters in addition to Adrian. The couple's son is a devoted family man and has a close relationship with both his parents and his sisters. Before moving back in with Eva and Richard, he was in a committed relationship with a woman, but it broke down after a while. Adrian is a trained massage therapist and works freelance. However, the young man, who is described as reserved and friendly, is hardly getting any work at the moment. His father, Richard, has an acquaintance who works as a plumber and is looking for an assistant in late summer 2017. The acquaintance has a job in St. Anton, Austria. When Richard finds out about this, he immediately suggests that his son Adrian take advantage of the offer. The short-term job would be a welcome change in Adrian's life. Accommodation in a nice local hotel was provided, and Adrian would have the opportunity not only to earn some money, but also to travel to Austria for the first time in his life. At first, Adrian was unsure whether he should really go to St. Anton. After all, as a craftsman, he has no practical experience. But both his father and the plumber assure him that he can quickly learn the easy tasks and that he doesn't need to worry too much. And so, Adrian decides to accept the job offer and travel to St. Anton with his new boss. On September 20th, Adrian arrives in St. Anton and checks into the hotel booked by the company, along with 2 other workers. The Nasseriner Hof is an upscale 3-star hotel. Adrian stays in a single room here and is only a short distance away from his new job, a hotel garage about 2 minutes away. Over 120 people from many different countries work on the construction site. As a novice craftsman, the work is not only unfamiliar to Adrian, but also a real challenge. It is exhausting, but he enjoys it nonetheless. In between, he calls his family and tells them that everything is fine and that he is doing well at work. Adrian works on the construction site during the day before returning to the hotel to sleep in the evening. He also celebrates his 35th birthday on the 2nd day of his stay in St. Anton. To mark the occasion, his boss invites him out for dinner, and they celebrate a little. On the evening of September 23rd, 2017, a Saturday, Adrian's father tries to call his son. When Adrian answers the phone, his father hears loud music and can hardly understand his son. Adrian says he is in a bar and goes outside so he can talk to his father on the phone without being disturbed. Adrian tells Richard that he has met a Hungarian woman who works at the hotel reception. She is with him at the pub, and he doesn't want to keep her waiting too long. Nevertheless, Richard briefly asks if everything is okay at work, which his son denies. Adrian says he doesn't feel very comfortable around his colleagues. There are 3 other men there who talk badly about him, and he has heard that the 3 want to transfer him to another construction site on Monday. When Richard asks Adrian if he has already spoken to his boss about this situation, he says no. His father encourages him to talk to his boss after all, whereupon Adrian says that his father is probably right and that he will now hang up and go back to his companion and continue partying. On Monday, September 25th, 2 days later, Adrian still isn't talking to his boss. Around 1 p.m., his coworkers approach him because he seems to be feeling unwell. He says he has a stomachache and feels nauseous. His coworkers advise him to go back to the hotel and get some rest. However, Adrian does not go to the hotel, which is about 350 meters away, but to one of the portable toilets on the construction site. From there, he first tries to call his father and then his sister, but neither of them can take the call. Instead, Adrian leaves a message on his sister's voicemail. "This is Adrian. There are men here who want to kill me. Please tell Dad. I can't reach him." Adrian does not say in the voicemail message which men he is referring to or why he is so afraid of them. Adrian remains in the portable toilet cubicle for almost 45 minutes, during which time he sends several cryptic messages. 2 of them are to his father and are written in Polish. "Dad, I don't know if I'll survive today, and if I don't get in touch in an hour, it's the end. My wish is to be buried next to Grandma and Grandpa." He also sends messages to his sister and mother. At around 1:45 p.m., Adrian is seen leaving the construction site. In the evening, his boss knocks on Adrian's hotel room door. However, there is no response from the room. He assumes that Adrian is still recovering from his stomachache and is probably asleep. It is not until the following morning, September 26th, that Richard sees his son's missed calls and text messages. Shortly thereafter, about 17 hours after Adrian disappeared from the construction site, the boss of the company Adrian drove to St. Anton with calls him and informs his father that Adrian has not been seen since yesterday afternoon. He also left his jacket at the construction site, which contains the key to his hotel room. After the boss knocks on Adrian's hotel room door again and he doesn't open it, he has the room opened by the receptionist with Richard's consent. But the room is empty. The bed appears to be made and untouched. This means that Adrian never went to his hotel room on September 25th and did not spend the night there. Adrian has not just one, but 2 cell phones. Neither of them can be found in the room. Apart from that, however, all of Adrian's other personal belongings are in the hotel room. His clothes are also untouched. Adrian's parents immediately set off for Tyrol to search for their son. Their employer is said to have been very surprised that Eva and Richard set off for St. Anton, and that's despite the fact that their son has been missing without a trace for more than a day. But even on site, no one can give them any useful clues as to where their son has been for more than 24 hours now. When Richard meets a hotel employee, he asks him about the Hungarian receptionist Adrian told him about on the phone on Saturday, hoping that she might be able to give him a clue. But the employee explains to Adrian's father that there is no such employee at the reception desk. There is only one female receptionist at the hotel, but she is not from Hungary, but from Austria. Adrian's cell phone was last logged in at around 2 p.m. in St. Anton. During a search with a dog team, one of the search dogs was able to pick up his trail and follow it to the nearby St. Anton East bus stop, where the trail disappears. It is therefore possible that Adrian either took a bus here and left St. Anton, or that he got into a car there. From the St. Anton Ost bus stop, for example, you can take the bus to the train station, where trains to Zurich run at regular intervals, as well as a few express trains. However, it is not known whether Adrian actually traveled in this direction. The only thing that is certain is that his last trace is lost at this bus stop. The police are investigating all possibilities and have not ruled out foul play. Given that Adrian is said to have suffered from an anxiety disorder several years earlier, investigators are taking Adrian's hints and fears during his time in St. Anton very seriously. In a television report from spring 2021, an officer expressly emphasizes that there is no evidence that Adrian's anxiety disorder had flared up again at the time of his disappearance. Especially since there is no information to suggest that Adrian was still restricted by the illness in his everyday life or had any symptoms before he set off for Austria. On September 27th, a large-scale search operation begins in the region around St. Anton. Hospitals and doctors in the area are being investigated. The aim is to find out whether Adrian may have had an accident. However, this approach also fails to yield the hoped-for clues. All employees of the hotel where Adrian was staying are also questioned, but no one can provide any helpful information. The hotel room was also searched by the Criminal Investigation Department, but no useful clues could be found. It should be noted, however, that Adrian's employer cleared out the room himself. He stated that Adrian would not be returning anyway, and that he did not want to continue paying for an unused room. Adrian's family is certain that he did not decide to disappear of his own accord. Rather, his relatives believe that he was actually the victim of a crime. And the lawyer hired by the family is also certain that the 35-year-old was murdered, based on the text message Adrian sent on the day of his disappearance and other small but crucial inconsistencies. In November 2020, it was reported that the lawyer had filed a criminal complaint against an unknown perpetrator with the public prosecutor's office. In this report, the family's lawyer even names a specific person whom he believes to be responsible for Adrian's disappearance. The name of this person is not known. However, press reports indicate that Adrian and the suspect knew each other, and that the latter was also in St. Anton in September 2017. Unfortunately, it has not yet been made public how and whether this lead was pursued. However, the report was never mentioned again in subsequent coverage. This leads us to believe that the police are either deliberately withholding information for strategic reasons, or that the accusations simply no longer play a role in the investigation. None of the search operations provide investigators with the hoped-for lead to Adrian. Even when the search is extended to the whole of Europe, the police receive no helpful clues. Adrian Lucas remains missing to this day. No one has seen Adrian since September 25, 2017. But Adrian's whereabouts are not the only unknowns since then. There are also many other unanswered questions in this case. Who is the woman Adrian met in St. Anton? We know that she claimed to be a Hungarian employee at the hotel reception. However, there is no such receptionist on site. The woman could possibly be an important witness in this case and provide more insight into the last days before Adrian's disappearance. The question of why exactly he felt so threatened and was certain that someone would murder him in the near future also remains unanswered. Adrian apparently had problems with some of his colleagues, but what kind of conflict between complete strangers can escalate so much within a few days that one of them develops a fear of death? Do you have any ideas or theories about what might have happened to Adrian Lucas? Feel free to write your thoughts in the comments. Even years after his disappearance, Adrian's relatives naturally want to know what happened to their son and brother. That's why I would like to give a brief description of the missing person, who was last seen on September 25, 2017. Adrian Lucas, 35, disappeared from a construction site in St. Anton at around 2 p.m. He was still wearing his work clothes and safety shoes. Adrian has dark blonde hair, is about 1.80 meters or 5 feet 9 inches tall and has a normal build. In addition to German, he also speaks Polish and is described as a reserved and friendly person. Please share the video, especially if you have friends in the region, to raise awareness of the case and ensure that Adrian Lucas is not forgotten. Other than that, there isn't much more to say. Thank you for watching. I wish you a good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're watching this video, and hope to see you again in the next one. Until then, bye everyone.